On January 9, 2007, Steve Jobs came on stage and showed to the world the first generation iPhone. While I was watching that presentation, I was saving up to get myself a BlackBerry Pearl, and on my birthday, May 24th, 2007, I got that BlackBerry Pearl, and I spent some time justifying my BlackBerry Pearl purchase. Suffice to say, after seeing what the iPhone was capable of and seeing it in action at the Apple stores, I quickly gave up and started saving up for whatever would be the second iPhone. Not too much time later, in 2008, I was waiting in line and got myself the iPhone 3G, and the rest is history. Alright, so every year a new iPhone comes out, and every year that iPhone becomes the phone of the year for me. There's often been times when I've tried to switch, but unsurprisingly, I always end up on the iPhone, and that's because it's reliable, has great battery life, and I can count on it. It has become an incredibly useful tool in my life in a way that no device running Android has ever been able to do for me, and as much as I like some of the innovations happening around Android, they're just never enough for me to ignore all of the other negatives surrounding them. Most recently with foldable phones, for example, they are super cool, and the tech lover in me wants to use one daily, but these devices are just not there yet. A phone for me has to work not only incredibly well, but it has to feel right in my hand when I'm using it. This goes for both software operating as intuitively as possible, along with hardware blending that in seamlessly. Now I know the following is going to sound quite cheesy, but to me the iPhone does represent so much more than just a smartphone for just checking email and sending texts. It's a culmination of years of innovation, creativity, and iterative updates that make the iPhone as close to as perfect as a smartphone can be in its current form. It's very easy to dismiss me as an iPhone fanboy or Apple fanboy, but at the end of the day, I'm just passionate. I did grow up with Steve Jobs coming up on stage to announce cool products that constantly pushed the boundaries of tech and made technology feel really fun and human. It also made me want those things. One of my fondest memories is Steve going up on stage to announce the iPod Nano after I had been wanting an iPod mini for years. Soon after the Nano's release, I bought my first iPod, and shortly after that, I would spend nights looking at concept iPods with touchscreens that looked like something out of a sci-fi movie, which to my surprise did end up happening. Heck, things that I didn't ever expect could happen ended up happening, which is insane. So every time I hold an iPhone, I look into that black mirror and I don't see anything bad. I just see my younger self, again, excited and full of joy for how cool technology is. Now look, this isn't to say that the iPhone doesn't have its issues and that some other companies haven't created some awesome products that also have reached the kid in me. Heck, the Sony Mylo was something that I dreamt of having and only recently was able to get for myself to satisfy one of those dreams of mine when I was a kid. Suffice to say, I love technology and I love Apple's product line, and the iPhone is just right there at the center of both of those things for me. When it comes to design and build quality, the iPhone is just consistently setting the standard for the entire smartphone industry. If they use a new material, then you're likely to see it repeated in other manufacturers. Now we might see titanium in the iPhone 15 Pro, but now with the iPhone 14 Pro we have stainless steel and the 14 aluminum. Now stainless steel specifically deserves a mention because it creates such a solid feeling phone that I truly feel like this thing cannot break. I toss it everywhere without care, and I use the stainless steel sides to flip light switches, click elevator buttons, and of course I know it can definitely break, and in those cases where I'm doing something extreme or out of the ordinary, that's where today's sponsor for the video comes in, CASETiFY. Now, CASETiFY is the world's most popular tech accessory brand, known for their protective cases as well as global collaborations. And today what we have here is their new clear case and bounce case. For the clear case, I actually really love this one because it lets you see your phone. It also is still very clicky and tactile on the sides, and it actually has their new UV Defender tech, which is going to try to prevent the case from yellowing over time, which is one thing that sucks with clear cases. Now, if you so happen to drop your phone like I did here, this case is going to protect you from up to 6.6 feet of drop protection, which is actually pretty dang good, while still having that MagSafe compatibility and the ability to customize the case. Now, CASETiFY also has their artist program where you can support artists by getting their case designs, such as this awesome retro vending machine bounce case from Illustrata. Now, if you need more protection, there's the bounce case, which is one of my all-time favorite cases. I recently took a trip to Boston where I was able to do absolutely everything without having to worry about it, and it's drop tested up to 156 times for 21.3 feet of drop protection, which is really crazy. Now, it actually bounces off the ground a ton because of the little nubs it has on each corner, which is actually one of my favorite features on any case ever, because it works one thing for protecting the phone, but it also works as little kind of grippy nubs that you can use whenever you're using your phone. So if you're gaming or kind of holding the phone in a really weird situation, those grippy nubs give you extra security when you're holding your phone so that you don't actually drop it. I actually was on a rental car that had a dash and it didn't have CarPlay, so I basically put my phone there and those grippy nubs kind of stuck on, and they stayed there the whole time that I was driving that car, which made it a really pleasant experience because otherwise I would have had nowhere to put the phone. Now you can use the link down below in the description, or as you see right here, CASETiFY.com/StarGadgetsYT, and when you click that link, it's actually going to automatically apply 15% off your order, which is really great. You don't even have to do anything, just clicking that link will automatically apply the discount, so no worry about promo codes or anything like that. So make sure to go to that link, and thanks to CASETiFY for sponsoring this video. Now in contrast with the iPhone, many Android devices just often feel quite cheap and flimsy by comparison. Whether it's their plastic construction or flimsy metals, they just don't feel very great. However, there are of course some exceptions with some high-end Android phones out there that do have some great build quality, but in my opinion, those still do not match the level of build quality and attention to detail that you find with even the latest iPhones right now. One thing that's often overlooked on the iPhone is that it can run games and apps perfectly. Like, I never have to worry about scaling issues or a game running badly. Game developers just do an amazing job of optimizing games on the iPhone. Now this is also due to how fragmented Android is and how tough it is for developers to keep apps functioning on Android, with all the different phones having different specs and dimensions and displays. So it makes it very difficult, and the same thing applies for applications. Things just work on iOS incredibly well, they open as they should, and even some developers have just decided to only make apps for iOS, and you can't blame them. It's just a better place to develop apps. With lots of this gaming and using apps comes the battery life, which year after year just keeps getting better and better. A full day of battery life right now, it's totally doable with lots of usage, and the standby time is so ridiculously good that sometimes I won't even charge it at night and I'll just leave it on the bed next to me with the alarm, and I'll instead charge it in the morning while getting ready. I can just really trust that my iPhone's just not going to suddenly die overnight because some weird app didn't close properly or started pulling all resources into it. Now because of that iPhone, I've ended up with a MacBook, iPad Pro, Apple Watch, and I'm so far into that ecosystem that Apple has strategically created that it's near impossible to crawl out of. But I don't really care to crawl out of that system because as it stands, it makes everything in my life significantly easier. I can be typing a script on my iPad and reply to a text or answer my call without having to pull out my phone. But heck, I'm already wearing an Apple Watch so I can answer it on there as well. I can be focused on here knowing that if someone shows up at my house, my watch is going to tell me if it's someone recognizable or not. And of course, this is thanks to other devices not made by Apple or regarding the iPhone. However, everything just works really well. Like, I don't ever have notifications that don't show up. Things just work. I could stop writing this and just finish it on my phone or laptop, or just easily copy and drag and drop things between them. I can get distracted on the iPad and design something on my iPad that I can then save and use on my computer or desktop later. It's all just a very seamless symphony between devices where music can continue flowing without worrying about what device is with me. And that's something I really appreciate. Now, it's incredibly easy to be a cynic here and say that this is too much. It's all an addiction, and maybe making things harder would lead to less time on the internet or on your phone or computer, etc. And for some, that might be the solution, but I can personally manage my consumption well enough to the point that what these devices are doing for me is actually helping me finish the task quicker, so I spend less time on them. I can quickly get on it, know that this thing is gonna work as it should, and get right on off it, and I'm good to go. My Apple Watch being a huge reason why I choose iPhone every year as well. It's just a fantastic companion. It's something that I can leave the house with and completely forget about my phone if I don't want to take it with me, and I just want to unplug for a bit while I go for a walk or something. Sure, my watch is there with me, but emergencies can happen, and that's why I have it with me. It's just simply something that adds to the experience, and it's so above anything out there in the competition that I just love this thing. Now, I'm not trying to hate on Android phones, but one thing I'll say is that I will never personally recommend any Android phone unless I've personally bought it myself and used it extensively. Lots of reviewers will recommend $1,000 Android phones that will depreciate like crazy, but they are getting them for free. For example, the latest set of fold phones I used extensively, but I would not tell anyone to get them unless you're fine just wasting your money. Like if that money doesn't matter to you, then it's a very cool phone to own. They just aren't worth their current asking prices regardless of how cutting edge the tech is. And this is very important to keep in mind. These phones are fine for those playing around with them with a second or third phone, but as a main phone, it just doesn't work. Sure, there's some people out there using them as main phones, especially online here on YouTube, but the truth of the matter is that in the back pocket they're carrying around an iPhone, and that to me is very disingenuous. You also have a bunch of people just recommending X and X Android phones just because they're getting them for free and they want to stay on the good side of the company, and then in the back they'll just switch right back to using their iPhone day to day. I'm not saying don't buy Android phones, just be careful and do proper research and make sure that's what you want and you're not choosing it because someone online told you to choose it. I know a lot of people choose iPhones because that's what they want. It's actually what works with them with their life, and they don't want an Android phone, even if it's given to them for free. They like the ecosystem, they like Apple, they like their iPhone. And I know there's the phone wars and everything, but ultimately it's whatever you like, and I personally like the iPhone as it stands. That is my phone of choice. It's reliable, it's consistent, and I like interacting with it. Would I change some things? Sure. But would I change significantly less things than any other devices out in the market right now? Yes. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Goodbye.
Hey YouTube, and today I'm going to compare the PSP Go and the Nintendo DSi. A PSP versus the iPhone 3G. Thickness. The iPhone's still a little bit slimmer, but when you open up the PSP Go, the iPhone, I think it's the same as slim as the bottom part of the iPhone. Same as slim as the iPhone in the bottom part. And yeah, tell me what you think. Which one's better, the DSi or the PSP Go? Alright, see you later, YouTube.